Welcome to Time Traveling Team, the podcast where we review every episode of Doctor Who right from the very beginning. I'm Tricia.
And I'm Paddy. This week we are starting season 24 with a new Doctor and the return of a very interesting villain in Time and the Rani. As usual, we will be discussing the Doctor, companions and villains and give you our thoughts on the story as a whole.
We'd also love to hear your thoughts on this story. So as always, to join the discussion, you can check us out at our socials at Time Teamp. That's TINETEAMP across pretty much everything. Or you can email us at timetravelingteep@teamproductions.com, and those details are available in the episode description.
Yes.
So, welcome, Paddy, to 2026.
Yes, hello. Officially.
Officially. And welcome to season 24.
Mm-hmm.
You ready for a whole new season, a whole new Doctor?
Yep, I am. And after the very brief interlude of 45-minute two-part stories, we're now back to 20 whatever. Although I will say that the episode structure for Sylvester's run, it hits my OCD brain in a really bad way, because I'm like, pick a structure, for fuck's sake. Because they won't. Because I think it goes, season 24 is 4-4-3-3, then it's 4-3-3-4, and then it's 4-3-4-3. And I'm like, for fuck's sake, just pick something. But
with that being said,
yes,
how about you jump into this particular set of 4?
Yeah, I will indeed.
And give us the recap, please.
I will do. Thank you very much. Part 1. The TARDIS is attacked by a series of energy blasts, and the Doctor and Mel are violently thrown to the floor by the impacts. The TARDIS crash lands on the craggy surface of a nearby planet, watched by a reptilian humanoid. The doors of the TARDIS open, and the Rani enters, finding the Doctor and Mel unconscious. She tells her servant, a bipedal bat-like creature called a tetrap, to leave Mel and to bring the Doctor with them. As the servant turns the Doctor over, he sees that he's in the process of regenerating. Later, in her mountainside lair, the Rani observes a pair of reptilians placing an elderly human into a cubicle. The Rani orders them to hurry up, threatening them over their perceived insolence and incompetence. She tells them that the specimens she is capturing are geniuses from throughout the universe and must be kept in perfect condition. Beas, the male reptilian, asks the Rani to let his younger colleague, a female named Sarn, to go free, but the Rani refuses, going back to her lab. Inside, she checks on the still unconscious Doctor, who has finished his regeneration and now looks like a tin-faced man with brown hair. He suddenly wakes up and begins to talk about repairing the TARDIS before asking who he is, where he is, and who the Rani is. He suddenly recognizes her and he warns her to stay back before demanding to know where Mel is. The Rani says that she is safe for the time being, and they are on the planet Lakertya. The Doctor checks a nearby computer to see what the Rani is up to, and sees that she is taking notes on a nearby asteroid composed entirely of strange matter. He angrily demands to know what she is doing, highlighting her previous unethical experiments. Frustrated with his high-handedness, the Rani pulls a gun on him and he attempts to escape, but falls down a set of steps. At that moment, Sarn and Beas arrive, and Sarn goes to help the Doctor. The Rani orders her to leave him be, saying that she will punish her later. The Doctor then gets up and grabs an umbrella before threatening to destroy the nearby piece of equipment. The Rani calls for her servant, Uruk, and the Doctor watches in shock as the tetrap enters the room. Uruk fires an electric net at the Doctor, capturing him and knocking him out. Elsewhere, Mel wakes up to find herself being carried out of the TARDIS by another Lakertian. She struggles free and runs away from him. Suddenly, she runs into a fleeing Sarn, who knocks her over before continuing to run away. Sarn suddenly hits a tripwire and is then encased in a transparent bubble which lifts into the air and zooms into a nearby cliff face. Mel watches in horror as the bubble explodes, killing a screaming Sarn. Mel sees the other Lakertian mourning Sarn and goes to comfort him, but he angrily brushes her off. Back in her lab, the Rani injects the Doctor with something to give him temporary amnesia. Later, when he wakes up, the Doctor is greeted by the Rani, who has disguised herself as Mel. The Doctor stumbles around the room, confused as to his surroundings, and the Rani tries to prevent him from damaging anything. The Doctor struggles to remember Mel and recoils in shock when he sees himself in the mirror. The Rani quickly takes him away and says he must continue with his experiment, which is what exploded and caused him to regenerate. The Doctor says that he must be suffering temporary amnesia and should go heal, but the Rani says that he should get to working on the machine as it is important. The Doctor looks at it, saying that the damage is extensive, but the Rani reminds him that he is a genius and it should be an easy fix for him, saying that it was his speciality in university. The Doctor seems confused by this, but the Rani gets him to start working on the repairs. Meanwhile, back in the valley, a bound Mel is being dragged by the Lakertyan man who is called Icona. She begs him to stop, swearing that she means him no harm. She introduces herself and asks where the Doctor is. Icona says that she was alone when he found her and tells her to keep quiet. He then activates another trap, but Mel pulls him back from before the bubble can trap him. They watch as the bubble flies off and explodes, and Mel asks him to trust her. Icona reluctantly agrees and unties her. He then leads her to the TARDIS so they can find the Doctor. Back in her lab, the Rani grows more frustrated with the arrogant demands of the Doctor, such as wiping his brow as he works. He suddenly finds a set of scoops and begins playing them like the spoons. The Rani angrily snatches them from him, and he asks her what's wrong. She calms down as the Doctor again expresses confusion at the purpose of the machine and the work that he was doing. She reassures him of his intelligence and tries to guide him back to work. He then sees a large door nearby and asks what's behind it. The Rani says that she doesn't know, saying that he never let her inside it as it was not safe for humans. The Doctor says he will do no further work until his memories come back. Nervous of his delay, the Rani secretly mixes the contents of a vial into a drink and gives it to him, saying that will help him calm down. She reminds him that he is not acting like himself, and he says that this must be what his new persona is like after his regeneration. He apologizes for his behavior, but says that he can't continue with the repairs without the proper equipment. The Rani absentmindedly says that the equipment might be in the TARDIS, and the Doctor agrees, jumping up and telling her to take him to it. She tells him to head out first, and then contacts Uruk, telling him to get the real Mel out of the TARDIS. Uruk says that she is already gone, and she angrily orders him to find her. En route to the TARDIS, the Doctor spots Saren's skeleton and comments on her biology. The Rani comments on their inferior nature, which surprises the Doctor, and she quickly says that it was he who was the one who originally said it. They soon arrive at the TARDIS, and the Doctor immediately goes to the wardrobe to find a new change of clothes. He initially picks out an outfit reminiscent of Napoleon before saying it lacks humility. He then goes through the outfits of his third, fourth, and fifth incarnations, before appearing wearing a beige coat, question mark covered sweater vest, checked pants and suspenders, and a Panama hat. The Rani, annoyed at the fashion show, quickly says that it is perfect and says that they should get back to work. The Doctor suddenly stares at her intently, seeing what Mel should really look like, but the Rani quickly punches him and the vision is gone. The Doctor says he was overcome by a sense of evil and begins to say the Rani's real name, but she turns it into Radiation Wave Meter, the name of the equipment that they came to find. She goes to the console where she is contacted by Uruk, who says that he has found Mel. The Rani turns on the external view screen just as the Doctor comes in and says he was thinking of the Rani. The Rani points to an image of Mel, making her way through the valley, and asks if that is her. The Doctor says it might be, and the Rani says someone so evil needs to be destroyed despite the Doctor's protests. Out in the valley, Mel flees from Uruk and accidentally activates a booby trap. She screams as the bubble encases her and takes off, leaving Icona to watch in horror. Part 2. The bubble falls into a nearby lake and Icona rushes to it to try and save Mel. He tells her to stop screaming as he tries to free her from it. He manages to remove the trigger mechanism and Mel emerges safely from the bubble. Icona then throws the trigger into the lake where it explodes and they then leave. Unbeknownst to them, they are being followed by Uruk. Icona leads Mel to a crag where he tells her to wait whilst he goes to fetch something. Suddenly Mel is attacked by Uruk and she screams in terror at his appearance. Icona returns brandishing a weapon and fires it at Uruk, covering him in the metallic fragments that cause him pain. Icona grabs Mel and tells her to run. Back in the Rani's lair, the Doctor fails to repair the equipment and wonders what the Rani was doing on the planet. The Rani says that she may have been on the verge of a major discovery and they need to continue the repairs so the Doctor can stop her. The Doctor frustratedly says that he can't remember anything and he needs to know what he was doing. The Rani says that they are safe now, reminding him of watching Mel being trapped in the bubble. However, the Doctor says the Rani is ruthless and calculating. He goes back to work and wonders why the Rani would have dressed like Mel. He looks at the damage of the machine and wonders how he could have made such basic mistakes with the components used in it. The Rani asks if the right components were used, would it work? The Doctor seems surprised at this, telling the Rani that it's not like Mel to forget basic thermodynamics. The Rani quickly says that maybe her memory was affected by the explosion as well, but the Doctor is again confused by this. He then gives her a device to check the readings on the machine whilst he goes to listen at the locked door. At that moment, Mel and Icona arrive outside the lair. O'Connor says that many of his people died building it, and Mel wonders why the owner of it would want the Doctor. The Rani brings the Doctor away from the door and asks which materials will make suitable replacements for the damaged components. He tells her of one type, and she tells him that she knows where to get it from the Lakertians. As she leaves, the Doctor reminds her that she said the Lakertians were not in advanced society, but she ignores him and locks him into the lab. Meanwhile, Mel and O'Connor encounter another Lakertian, a female named Faroon. Faroon gives them a frosty greeting, reminding O'Connor that he is disobeying Base's orders to collaborate with the Rani. Mel speaks up in O'Connor's defense, telling her what happened to Sarn. Faroon goes to check on the body, and O'Connor explains that Sarn was Faroon and Base's daughter. Faroon says that she must go talk to Base, and Mel goes to follow, saying that the Doctor will be inside the lair as well. They make their way to the lair, and they see the entrance is guarded by Uruk. O'Connor says that he will draw him away, and runs. Uruk spots him and gives chase, allowing Mel to sneak inside. She makes her way into the lab and is attacked by the Doctor, demanding to know who she is. Mel, not recognizing him, throws him to the floor when he goes to grab her and demands to know where the Doctor is. The two continue to struggle, and the Doctor demands that she stop impersonating Mel, thinking that she is the Rani. At that moment, the real Rani is accidentally captured by Uruk. He releases her, not having recognized her due to her outfit. The Doctor and Mel continue to determine each other's identities. The Doctor demands to feel Mel's pulse, knowing that a Time Lord would have a double one. Mel says that she doesn't know who the Rani is, and the Doctor says she is incredibly dangerous, whereas the worst Mel could do is give him a glass of carrot juice. Mel says the Doctor loved it, but he insisted he hated it, his memory being sparked by the dimension of the carrot juice. The Doctor explains that he's regenerated, and Mel agrees to check each other's pulses. They determine each other's identities, and the Doctor apologizes, mournfully saying that he was so easily deceived. He then wonders what the Rani wants with him. He shows Mel what the Rani was working on and explains the nature of strange matter to her. The Doctor says that if the nearby asteroid was destroyed, the resulting explosion could wipe out an entire section of the galaxy. Mel suggested they go back to the TARDIS, but the Doctor refuses to leave the Lakertians under the Rani's control. The Doctor says that there is another door nearby that he's been trying to get through, but he can't figure out the combination. From the other side of the door, Baez tells him the combination, and they enter. Inside, they find the chambers filled with many of Earth's greatest intellects from throughout history, as well as Baez and Faroon. The Doctor wonders why the Rani would waste her talents for evil, but Mel draws his attention to a chamber reserved for him. The Doctor asks why she would specifically want him, and Mel reminds him of his Time Lord knowledge. The Doctor leads him back into the main lab and asks Baez if he knows what is behind the other door. Baez says that he doesn't know, and the Doctor asks why he has helped the Rani. He says that he had no other choice, but their conversation is interrupted by Faroon, who says that the Rani is coming back. The Doctor tells her and Baez to take Mel to safety, whilst he goes back to the machine, pretending to still be repairing it. The Rani returns with the components, and together they put them into the machine. She asks if they are done, but the Doctor says he still needs to check a few things, and again asks what is behind the locked door. The Rani ignores him and activates the machine, removing her disguise as she knows that the Doctor has regained his memory. The Doctor distracts her and then flees into the chamber room, passing Baez, who has returned there. The Doctor runs into an underground pit, which is filled with tetraps, all hanging upside down asleep. He hides as the Rani enters, brandishing a spear, and searches for him. Unable to find him, she goes back outside it, but closes the gate to the pit, and the Doctor is confronted by several of the tetraps. Part 3. As the tetraps are about to attack the Doctor, Baez arrives and opens the feeding chute, distracting them long enough for the Doctor to escape. He tells them to hide as he hears someone coming. A few moments later, Uruk appears and asks if he's seen the Rani. Baez says that she went outside, and Uruk leaves, saying that the Rani made a mistake in trusting the Lakertians. After he leaves, Baez brings the Doctor out of his hiding space. The Doctor continues to wonder what the Rani is up to and why she needs the collection of genies she has assembled. Baez tells him that he needs to escape, reminding the Doctor that as if he is caught, Baez will have no choice but to have the Rani imprison him. The Doctor again asks Baez why he is helping the Rani, and he says that he has to protect his people. He tells the Doctor to leave, but guides him to a place called the Centre of Leisure, saying that he will find his answers there. As he leaves, the Doctor removes a component from the machine, but Baez demands that he put it back, fearful of the Rani's reprisals. The two of them struggle for the component, but the Doctor manages to trip Baez, apologizing as he leaves before the Rani returns. A few moments later, the Rani arrives and Baez says that he tried to stop the Doctor. The Rani sounds an alarm as the Doctor flees from the base. Meanwhile, Mel wakes her way through the valley, having told Faroon to leave her for fear that the Rani might punish her if they were found together. She is suddenly attacked by Urek and one of his fellow tetraps, and he knocks her out. Elsewhere, the Doctor makes his way from the base and nearly falls into a booby trap, but he is saved by Icona. Icona starts to tell him about Mel, but they're interrupted by the arrival of a tetrap who goes to attack the Doctor. Icona fires his weapon at him, and the Doctor accidentally pushes him into the trap, and watches in horror as the bubble floats into the air and slams into a cliff. Back in the lair, the Rani tells Faroon to go find the Doctor and tell him about Mel's capture. She tells her that the Doctor will most likely try to form a resistance with the other Lakertians and warns Bayes not to ally with him. After she leaves, Bayes pleads with Faroon not to do anything that might force the Rani to punish their people. As he pleads with her that it is for the best, Faroon reminds him of what happened to Sarn. Later, the Doctor and Icona arrive at the Centre of Leisure, a large building where the rest of the Lakertians relax amidst a variety of activities. Icona resentfully tells the Doctor that he may not find any help there, saying that the Lakertians inside live in indulgent pleasure. The Doctor begins to look around and notices a large spinning orb in the centre of the room. He asks Icona to talk to the others about it, but they refuse, saying that Bayes has forbidden anyone to speak to Icona. At that moment, the Rani and Urek confront Bayes over the death of the other tetrap, showing fragments from the weapons that Icona used. Bayes says that none of his followers would dare attack the Rani or the tetraps, but she ignores his pleas and activates a monitor showing the spinning orb. Suddenly, a few sections of the orb open up and release a swarm of insects that kill several of the Lakertians. The rest flee in terror, and Faroon, having arrived during the confusion, admonishes Icona and says that Bayes has been right to collaborate with the Rani. She then says that she has a message for the Doctor, saying that the Rani will give back Mel in exchange for the component that he stole. Later, the Doctor and Icona are in the valley and watches Urek and Mel approach them. The Doctor sends Icona halfway to them with the component, and the Doctor calls for Mel to come to them. Urek takes the component and mocks them for their stupidity before fleeing, revealing Mel to be a hologram. At that moment, the real Mel is being forced to work with Bayes to keep the captured geniuses safe until they are needed for the Rani's plan. The Rani tells Urek that this time is running out for their plan to succeed, and she needs the Doctor. Urek suggests that Rani could take his place in the chamber, saying that she is just as intelligent as the Doctor. The Rani ignores his suggestion and orders Mel to get the chamber ready for the Doctor. Mel says the Doctor will beat her, saying that his humanity allows him a greater intelligence than she will ever have. At that moment, the Doctor and Icona arrive near the entrance to the lair. They see a rocket at the top of the cliff face the lair is built into, and the Doctor says it is most likely targeted at the asteroid. He wonders what the Rani is waiting for, and Icona mentions that a solstice is due shortly. The Doctor says that he needs to get back inside and see what is behind the locked door, and he tells Icona to create a distraction so he can get past the guards. Icona says that they won't fall for the same trick twice, but the Doctor says they have no other choice. Icona manages to draw away the guard, but his concern proves true when the Doctor is captured by Urek when he sneaks inside. He is brought into the chamber with the captured geniuses, where Mel is trying to convince Bayes to sabotage the pod so the Doctor will be able to get free again. Mel sees the Doctor has been rendered immobile and tries to stop Urek from pushing him into the chamber. However, Bayes takes her aside and says that it is no use and the tetraps will kill her. The Doctor's chamber seals itself, but Mel tells Bayes she refuses to help him. The Rani comes in and orders Bayes to activate the chamber, which will hook into the Doctor's brain. She makes her way back into the lab and opens the sealed door. Unbeknownst to her, Mel follows her and Urek into the room behind the door and sees a gigantic brain connected to a large machine. Mel is stunned as a voice comes from the brain, speaking in scientific equations. The Rani and Urek appear and take Mel back into the lab. The Rani asks if the Doctor is connected to the machine, and Bayes says that he is. Mel pleads with him not to listen to the Rani, but he ignores her and activates the machine. The Rani then goes back into the room with the brain and looks on in glee as the Doctor's knowledge is added to it. Part 4. Urek joins the Rani and says that they need to be careful in case the Doctor's Lakertian allies try to sabotage their plans. He suggests unleashing the rest of the swarm of killer insects, but the Rani says that she may need the Lakertians as a labour force later. She instead orders him to take the rest of the tetraps out to punish some of the population randomly. Meanwhile, Mel tells Bayes not to lose hope, as the Rani hasn't accounted for the Doctor's strong personality. This is proven to be true when the Rani observes the Doctor's brainwaves disrupting the harmony of the other minds in the giant brain. She quickly runs into the chamber room and prepares to kill the Doctor. However, Mel lets him out, and quickly the two of them capture the Rani and lock her into the doctor's chamber. Meanwhile, back at the center of leisure, Ulrich orders ankle bracelets to be put on all the Lakertians. He then activates one which kills the Lakertian and turns them into a skeleton. Unbeknownst to him, he is being observed by Icona. Back in the lair, the doctor leads Mel back into the brain room and says that they need to stop the rocket from launching. He looks at a nearby screen showing all the Rani's previous work, and it shows a recorded supernova. He wonders how the rocket will destroy the asteroid, saying that the only strange matter can destroy itself. Mel says that he said strange matter is incredibly heavy and suggests that the Rani may be using the power of the brain to invent a new lightweight substitute. The doctor again wonders why the Rani recorded the supernova and what does it have to do with her plans and why she captured him. Mel again mentions his knowledge of time, but before they can discuss it more, the Rani appears, having been freed by Base after she threatened reprisals against the Lakertians. The Rani reveals that she intends to destroy the asteroid so that the resulting strange matter explosion will create helium-2, which will then bond with the upper atmosphere of Lakertya. The resulting bond will create a field of chronons around the planet, turning it into a time manipulator. The stunned doctor says that the Rani will be able to control the flow of time anywhere in the universe, allowing her to tamper with creation itself. The Rani glows that it will give her complete control over evolution on any planet and threatens to start with Earth. Dr. fearfully says that all the greatest achievements of Earth's history will be wiped out, but the Rani says that they are an inferior species. The Doctor then says that all life on Lakertya will be destroyed as a result of the explosion, but the Rani smugly states that she will take refuge in her TARDIS and return when everything is settled down again. Unbeknownst to her, the conversation is being listened to by a returning Ulrich. The Doctor chastises the Rani for her monstrous nature, but gets distracted when the brain starts reciting an equation. He absentmindedly corrects one part of it, but then realizes that he has completed it, giving the Rani what she needs. As the Rani basks in her victory, the Doctor and Mel slip out and lock the door behind them. They are confronted by Ulrich, but Mel stuns him with his net gun, allowing them to escape. Outside the lair, they are met by Icona, and the Doctor tells them that they need to raise up a resistance so they can fight back. However, Icona tells them about the devices currently strapped to the Lakertians and says that they can't do anything until they are free. They go to the center of leisure. The Doctor examines the bracelets and says that they need to keep the contact wire intact while opening the bracelet. Icona finds some wire and gives it to Mel, who manages to free the Faroon successfully. The Doctor tells Mel and Icona to free the others, but Faroon warns him about the remaining insects in the spinning orb. The Doctor tells her that he has a plan to deal with them. Back in her lair, the Rani tells Ulrich to remain once the rocket takes off in case the Doctor returns to try and stop it. Ulrich, knowing what will happen on the planet, says that he should go with her in the TARDIS, but she refuses. She then starts the countdown and leaves. At that moment, the Doctor and the others return to the lair and they convince Base to help them. The Doctor tells Mel and Icona to release the captured geniuses and take them back to the TARDIS. He then goes back into the brain room with Base and Faroon and tells them to start placing the explosive bracelets around the brain. He then works on the launch console. Base says that he will stay behind to finish preparing the explosive, saying the Doctor needs to stop the Rani. Faroon says that she will stay with him, but Base orders her to go with the Doctor. Once they are gone, though, he seals the brain room with himself inside it. Out in the valley, the Rani sees the countdown timer has stopped and she is confronted by the Doctor, who tells her that she is lost. In her anger, she activates the bracelets, destroying the brain and killing Base, but allowing the rocket to take off. She then goes into her TARDIS and takes off as the lair is destroyed. The Doctor goes back to Mel and the Lakertians and tells them that the delay in the launch means that the rocket will miss the asteroid. Mel asks if he is sure, and he says absolutely, but crosses his fingers behind his back. His prediction is proved true, though, and the rocket flies off into space. The Doctor and Mel then say their goodbyes to Icona and Faroon. The Doctor says that he will remember Base's sacrifice, but Icona regrets that the Rani managed to escape retribution. However, at that moment, the Rani is suspended from the ceiling of her TARDIS console room by Ulrich and the other Tetraps, who gleefully say that she will serve them now. The Doctor then gives Faroon and Icona an antidote for the killer insects, but they destroy it, saying that the Lakertians must learn to fend for themselves. Nodding in respect, the Doctor leads Mel into the TARDIS, telling her that she will soon get used to his new incarnation and his frequent malapropisms and character quirks. End of the story. So, 2026 first trivia spot. What have you got for us?
Cool. So the air date for Time in the Rani is the 7th to the 28th of September 1987. Writers, we have Pip and Jane Baker back again. This is the final contributions to on-screen Doctor Who for Pip and Jane. I will say they did go on to write the target novelisation for this. Mm-hmm. Their previous stories were The Mark of the Rani, Terror of the Vervoids, and The Ultimate Foe. Director is Andrew Morgan. This is directing credit debut for Doctor Who for Andrew. We will see his work again in Remembrance of the Daleks. The working title for the story was Strange Matter, which I think kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
What we saw in the episode. Yes, this is the first episode of season 24. It's also the first for a number of other reasons. It exploits computer-generated imagery way more than they ever have in the history of ever.
Mm-hmm.
It was a relatively limited technology at the time, and like watching the making of and the behind the sofa and stuff like that, at the time, the production group were amazed by what they were doing with the computer-generated technology. So much so that they did the opening title sequence is an all-computer animated sequence with like a spinning galaxy and a few extra things. Looking at it now, it looks a bit naff, but I'm sure at the time, for like a Doctor Who TV budget, it was amazing. So yeah, they redid the title sequence, a new arrangement of the theme tune, which I will talk a little bit about later on when I get to my overall. And in the title sequence, Sylvester McCoy's face and hair were painted like silver.
Mm-hmm.
The designer of the title sequence revealed 23 years later that wasn't really necessary.
For fuck's sake.
And he never told anyone. And it wasn't necessary to paint his hair, which I just find funny. The logo for the series was also changed into a sort of three-dimensionally animated part of the title sequence, and that became the series logo that would stay until basically the early 1990s. We have a new script editor. So we've been out with a script editor for a little while, and now we have a new one. This is Andrew Cartmel. Some people may be familiar with that name if they know a bit about Doctor Who in this time period. So this is going to be his first editing story editor story. He did not get along with Pip and Jane. Even watching like the making of, that is so incredibly obvious that they didn't get along. They clearly were not fans of each other. Pip and Jane repeatedly told him that as a novice with no TV experience, he had no business trying to advise them on anything other than what or wasn't feasible in the budget, which was actually the thing that he was realistically least qualified to advise them on. They didn't even take his advice on that front either, putting in things that actually wouldn't have been feasibly possible. In particular, there was a bit of the script, it was going to be the opening of the episode, where originally it was meant to be King Solomon that was taken by the Rani at the beginning. And they had written in that King Solomon would be removed from time at the exact moment that his guard's axe was meant to swing the decisive blow. For those of you who aren't familiar with the parable of King Solomon, two women come to King Solomon basically saying that I'm the rightful mother. No, I'm the rightful mother. He comes up with a brilliant idea. We'll split the kid down the middle and you both get half, basically. And it goes back to the woman who said, no, give it to her. So that was who the
real
mother was. Cartmel kind of pushed back, saying that like a lot of people might not be familiar with who King Solomon is, like unless you paid a lot of attention in theology, it's not really good.
Yeah,
doesn't ring true the same way as Einstein or something like that, and they refused to take it out. Eventually, Jonathan Turner had to step in and say, "If I don't know who King Solomon is, and Andrew didn't know who it was, the viewers aren't going to know either. Take it out."
If my timing is right, there was a remake of King Solomon's Mines came out in or around that time period, which has got nothing to do with the actual King Solomon. So, like, I can imagine, like, that, again, as you say, like, that would have been the more overarching thing than the biblical character.
Yeah. So they were all around just not very pleasant to him. They also mentioned that several other times Jonathan Turner had to be the sort of deciding factor between the two of them. It was a whole thing. So this is going to be our first story with a new doctor, as Paddy said in the summary. So how about that regeneration? So we talked previously about how the show wasn't really doing well during Colin's run, which is unfortunate from our point of view because we really liked Colin. The higher ups basically said, get over it. J&T was planning to walk away, and they basically said, look, will you come back and do a handover type thing? And eventually he ended up coming back and staying or whatever. But the deciding factor was you have to get rid of Colin. That was it. Colin has to go. So they basically brought J&T back on board to fire Colin. That was the reason they wanted him back. So Colin was told, you're not going to be in the role anymore, but we'd like you to come in and film a regeneration. Potentially an entire story, or at least the regeneration sequence. Colin countered, saying, look, how about I do the season and then I can regenerate at the end of the season? And they said no, at which point he said that I don't want fucking anything to do with it. So which he said in later years that he kind of regretted that, like, he regrets for himself that he didn't do it, he regrets for the fans that he didn't do it, but in the moment he was quite offended, and so
as it would be.
Didn't want to come back. So instead, what they had to do was put a blonde wig on Sylvester, dress him up in Colin's clothes, which were way too big for him, because Colin's like 6 foot, and Sylvester isn't.
Yes.
For the one where Sylvester made the joke that he got lost for 3 days while he was inside in it. And then they had him basically sprawled out on the floor. And when they rolled him over, they did the effect where they sort of blurred his face and then it's Sylvester revealed. Probably the worst regeneration in terms of effects possibly that we've seen.
Yeah.
Which is just unfortunate.
Yeah.
Couple of things in regards to his outfit. So in this story, the Seventh Doctor wears his braces on the outside of his pullover, the outside of his jumper, sweater vest, whatever you want to call it, with the jumper sweater vest tucked into his trousers. Sylvester said he fucking hated that choice. He doesn't know why he did it, because that was his choice. He doesn't know why he did it, saying that it just exemplified the fact that he had a tummy and made him look like he had a beer gut, which wasn't really appropriate in his mind for the character. So for future stories, he kept the braces under his sweater vest so that it fell more naturally and didn't emphasize things. Back to Pip and Jane again. No offense, I watched the interviews. I'm fucking starting to hate Pip and Jane, to be honest.
They from what
they seem a bit far up their own asses.
Yeah, that's the thing. From what I've heard, they're kind of pretty much fucking strutted around the place,
So in the original script, because they thought they were writing this for Colin, they didn't know what was happening. So they originally started writing it for Colin, and in it, the Doctor was attacked by a giant spider, which they deliberately put in as a dig against Colin, who was arachnophobic.
Fucking assholes.
When it got changed over to Sylvester, they also weren't happy. They felt he was way too jokey. They had a particular issue with the spoon playing, with Pip complaining, where would a Time Lord learn to play the bloody spoons? The Time Lord learned to play the bloody spoons at the end of location sort of rap party for the story, where they're all in the pub having a few drinks and they all do their party piece. So Bonnie sang, someone else did something else. And Sylvester played the spoons, because that's just what Sylvester does. He likes playing the spoons.
Yeah.
And the director and also J&T were like, he should play the fucking spoons.
Yeah.
And they just decided to write it in. Apparently, one of Sylvester's favorite parts was playing the spoons on Kate O'Mara's puzzle.
Yes.
You mentioned in your summary in the Rani's final scene, she's being held by the Tetraps. Originally, she was hung upside down in similar to the way Mel had been when Mel had been captured by them, and similar to the way that they hang themselves, because they're kind of bat-like. However, because of lighting and everything, she was hung upside down for a really long time. And she was on antibiotics at the time. And at one point, she started saying, let me down, let me down, let me down. And they're like, okay, Kate, like, we're just in a second, like, give us a minute. At one point, she starts screaming, let me down, let me down. Like, she's a horrible pain in her eyes. And what actually happened was she popped a blood vessel in her eye.
Jesus Christ.
By being held upside down so long. Which is why, in the final product, she's hanging from her hands instead. Apparently people felt really bad because they thought that she was just being like, oh, fuck off, like, we're just setting up a scene.
Mm.
And then when they realised that she's actually serious to fucking hurt herself, they're like, fuck. But yeah, so let's go on to our cast. So as the Rani, as I mentioned, we have Kate O'Mara back again. This is the final Doctor Who appearance for Kate. We previously saw her in Mark of the Rani. At the time, when we mentioned this, she was famous for her role in Dynasty, however you want to pronounce it.
Mm-hmm.
But she really wanted to come back and do Doctor Who. She really loved it. She wanted to do it again. And so she wrote to Jonathan Turner, and apparently the sort of quote was, I can't stand the eternal sunshine. You've got to help me. I want to be in a gravel pit somewhere in the pissing rain, changing in a caravan in front of 20 nosy cruisers. But she wanted to come home.
Yeah.
And just do a bit of work at home. And I think she was doing something on stage at the same time as well.
Mm.
But I just love the fact that she's just a big, like, Hollywood, like, you know, American opera star. Like, American operas are so different to UK soap operas. She's a big American soap opera star. And she's just like, I want to go back and do Doctor Who though. And she clearly loved it. I'll talk a little bit when we get to the character discussion about her impersonation of Mel.
Mm-hmm.
But she really, really loved it. As Icona, we have Mark Greenstreet is the only Doctor Who acting credit for Mark. His non-Who credits include Brett Farrar, French and Saunders, Freddie and Max, and a 23-episode stint on Trainer back in 1992. At that point, his acting credits end. But he did seem to shift to writing and directing, with 2 credits in each where he wrote and directed his own production, the latest of which was in 2017. As for Rune, we have the return and the final appearance of Wanda Ventham. We previously saw Wanda in The Faceless Ones and again in Image of the Fan Doll. And yes, because everyone brings it up, she's bound to Cumberbatch's mum. Partly about it also was on set for this one for a while. He was like 11 at the time. As Baeus, we have Donald Pickering. Also, final of 3 Doctor Who credits for Donald. We previously saw him in The Keys of Marinus and also in The Faceless Ones. Lastly, as Uruk, who we won't be discussing later on because as a character there isn't much we have to say about him. He was played by Richard Gauntlet. Only Doctor Who acting credit for Richard. He did do some work in the Doctor Who main range of audio stories, and he did the little like web thing for the collection for the season. Outside of Doctor Who, his credits include Sooty, the British puppet show, Barnum, The Grand, and A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yeah.
Now, we do also have Sylvester McCoy coming in as the Doctor. So, Sylvester was born in August of 1943. His name isn't Sylvester. It's Percy James Patrick Kent Smith, which is a very long fucking name. Sylvester McCoy is so much easier to say.
Yep.
It's just quite funny. he's from Scotland. In his youth, he actually trained for the priesthood, which is an interesting fact.
Mm-hmm.
He ends up giving that up and working in the insurance industry for a while. He worked in the Roundhouse box office for a time where he was discovered by Ken Campbell, and he was a bodyguard for the Rolling Stones, which that's strange. He went on to become a prominent member of the Ken Campbell Roadshow, and basically he was just known for being a really good physical actor, really good comic,
Very.
and that's it.
I've seen some of his stuff. He's very kind of vaudeville because like he used to.
He is. He's a bit. He's very vaudeville. There's a little touch of Patrick Troughton about him as well, I think.
Yeah, because
Um,
he had a routine where he was like a strong man who used to like hammer nails into his nose. So he did have a bit of a physique under it all. So him being a bodyguard for the Rolling Stones, I can see it.
yeah. Before he was in Doctor Who, he was, on television a variety of things, including Vision On and Tis Was. He also appeared in the mini television series The Last Place on Earth, which is about Robert Falcon Scott's last Antarctic expedition. And he had a non-speaking role in the 1979 version of Dracula with Laurence Olivier. Only months before being cast as the Seventh Doctor, he was a villain in a B film called Three Kinds of Heat, which actually also starred Mary Tan.
Oh.
Obviously, he would go on to play the Seventh Doctor up until the end of that run. I will spoil it a little bit. We do see him after that. He crops up a little bit in future episodes and things like that, which is great. It's really great. He is also he's a really big part of the community, so he has contributed a lot to, he's done a lot of audio work. He's really big on the convention circuit and stuff like that. Outside of Doctor Who, and since he left Doctor Who, what else has he done? Well, a lot of us may recognize him as Radagast from the horrendous Hobbit films. So he really was quite bad. He was also in a number of other audio things. He and went on to do basically, the Cabaret of Dr. Caligari. He did a brilliant production of King Lear. Favorite Shakespearean play that me and Paddy both.
Yes.
Big fans of, where he was opposite Sir Ian McKellen.
Yep.
So yeah, a big long. I'm actually scrolling down through.
He again played the spoons.
I'm actually scrolling down through, and I'm aware this is not a number, right? And I probably should have just copied and pasted this into an Excel file to get a number. But to give it an idea, on my monitor, I have to scroll. I have one entire screen, and then two entire screens, nearly three entire screens worth of listings for Doctor Who audio work that Colin has done, or Sylvester has done. He has done a metric ton.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's maybe done the most of all of them at this rate.
It's a toss between, so it's him, Colin, and Peter are like the three guys that had the most of it. But as to who had the most out of those three, I'm not entirely sure.
But even that was just the main range of Doctor Who was 3 pages. Then there was special releases, the Lost Stories, the Seventh Doctor Adventures, because it just keeps going.
Yep.
He's in the New Adventures of Bertie Summerfield. Holy crap.
Yep.
He has done a lot. Yep. But yeah, and we're looking forward to discussing him in this season.
Interesting thing, I don't know if it was in the behind the scenes or the stuff that you watched, but in his scene read audition, Janet Fielding played Mel.
Yeah.
And do you know who could have potentially have been the Seventh Doctor?
Go on.
General Crix Madine from Return of the Jedi.
I thought I recognized him, so I did watch the screen test footage. It really could only have been Sylve. Like, the other two that they show footage of really weren't great.
Look, as great as it would have been to have an Irish guy play the Doctor, just no, like
no. And the thing is that like Jonathan Turner saw Sylvester doing, I think it was sort of the equivalent. Again, it was sort of a vaudeville-esque variety show or something that he did. And so he's like, oh, Sylvester McCoy is interesting. And then someone rang him and was like, hey, here, looking for a new Doctor. Do you ever think of Sylvester McCoy? And he's like, just fucking think about that person. How does that happen? So he went to BBC saying, I want Sylvester McCoy. They didn't want anything to fucking do with him. They were like, oh, he's a comic. That's not really right for the character. So they insisted on the screen read before they'd hire him. Only for J&T to turn around and be like, see? He's the best one.
But
but yeah.
One of my favorite, like, it's just like, it's such a random film credit he has, but he's in Rob Zombie's movie version of The Munsters.
Really?
Yeah. As a guy, like him being in the Hobbit movies, yeah, absolutely, I can see that. Him being in King Lear, I can absolutely see that. Him being in a fucking Rob Zombie movie, very strange.
Yeah, his Radagast is always interesting.
I like his Radagast. I know like a lot of like hardcore Lord of the Rings fans do not like it. I think I might be colored because I like Sylvester. And as for the Hobbit movies, they're nowhere near the quality of the Lord of the Rings. They're kind of a guilty pleasure of mine because I like a lot of the cast in it. Like you've got James Nesbitt and Graham McTavish as two of the Doors. Are like, I listen to the two of them.
Yeah, I mean, we're going off on a tangent as we
always do.
Welcome to 2020. So the time for a team of new listeners. This is what we do on the regular basis. My issue with The Hobbit is it's just bad writing.
Oh yeah, like it's entirely too long.
Taking a tiny children's book and expand it into 3 films that does not focus on the relationship between Bilbo and the dwarves. Lindsay Ellis actually did an amazing 3-part series on YouTube where she goes into the whole thing about how the guys who played the second tier dwarfs, you know, the ones with actual beards who don't look like they walked out of a fucking catalogue.
Yeah.
How like they weren't invited to premieres. They were completely shafted.
So Biffer and Bomber, because Beaufort is James Nesbitt, so he would have had a bit more of a thing.
He got a little bit. He was sort of. So his first tier and second tier, he varied. I think it depends on the film.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But yeah, apparently they were treated like the most highly paid extras in the history of ever. The one thing it does have, which is a guilty pleasure of mine.
Yeah.
I know it has nothing to do with Tolkien's Legendarium. I know it makes no sense in the reality of one part of it, which is in the reality of Galadriel. I know that it makes no sense. Which is, there's a scene in is Dol Guldur when they're fighting the necromancer.
The Battle of the Five Armies. Yeah.
But when you have Galadriel and Elrond, Saruman and Gandalf fighting the necromancer, it is a Dol Guldur, isn't it?
Yeah. Is this the bit where like basically she fucking goes like dark mode?
So she goes dark mode, but you get this hint that there's kind of a bit of a thing between Galadriel and Gandalf.
Well, like that's peppered throughout those movies. That's like it's like you see it in the Unexpected Journey, and you see it in that.
I love it. I love that they have this little thing. It makes no sense in Tolkien's Legendarium because elves mate for life.
Yep.
And Galadriel is married.
Yeah. Where's Celeborn?
Yes, like they're very much together. But apparently that was a Guillermo del Toro edition from when he was originally writing it.
Yeah.
He just thought that it would be cute, and I think he sort of had it that maybe Gandalf had a bit of a crush on her,
Maybe, and that's why fucking Guillermo
and
del
that
Toro is a good writer.
and and that she sort of, not that she necessarily reciprocated, but that she was very fond of him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is a complete tangent. Basically saying we like Sylve. My only issue with Radagast in those films, other than the fact that he shouldn't have been in them because he wasn't in the book, is why keep the poop in your hair?
Because he's Sylvester McCoy and it's an artistic choice.
No.
Yeah.
No.
No. Also, just like really briefly, just thinking of it before we actually move on. All right. Galadriel has a sort of aquatic thing going on. What is it with fucking Guillermo del Toro's obsession of forbidden love between aquatic-based people and regulars? I'm not saying like it's wrong, but he's just like every fucking movie he seems to do, it's there.
Maybe it's because Galadriel had the ring of that, Galadriel's mirror and all that kind of stuff, and Gandalf had the ring of fire.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe he sort of had this.
Yeah. Oh, but I'm saying,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I love the way that Ian and Kate play it, though. Yeah. It is the most adorable thing ever. But we're not talking about...
No, we're not. So for people, you can skip the last 10 minutes of the conversation and then go on to the next part, which will be now.
It's a bit fucking late to tell them to skip it now, dude.
Shut up. Scooby-Doo transfer. Oh, so we have now reached the second part, we do this every time, but we've now reached the next part of the Tolkien Who podcast.
Oh, this is the third part.
Yeah. So it's like part 2, half, whatever. Okay, it's the character discussion part of it. Hello, welcome back. As always, we will be discussing the Doctor, the companions, prominent characters who Icona, Faroon and Bias.
Indeed.
And then we have the villain, Pip and Jane Baker. Sorry, the Rani. The person that talks about the socials gets to go first. So, very apropos, your very first time watching this story, your very first time watching this season. So, on to you. What do you think of the Doctor?
Okay, so yes, this is my first time watching this season, so it's my first time seeing this story. I had heard about the regeneration. I hadn't seen the actual clip proper, but I'd seen it like montaged in other things. The regeneration scene, I don't think it's bad, really. His acting when he wakes up is a bit OTT. Well, I wouldn't say that his silliness was terrible. I don't think it was bad for the character. I think people were really mean about it. And why I agree, it was kind of over the top and a very different way to how Colin was kind of over the top when he regenerated. And obviously we didn't really get Peter when he regenerated. But it's a very different OTT to Colin. And so it is a bit jarring, but it's fun. It's funny. So I actually really liked it. There's a bit that made me literally spit my drink out. I'm not kidding. I'm really glad the blanket you gave me was on the other side of the couch. Which is when he realizes, I can put spoons with these. And then he clonks himself with the spoons up the back of the head. I don't know why. I just nearly wet myself. It was so funny. A moment that stands out with me, and I'd like to think it stood out with you as well. I think probably my favorite moment of the Doctor in the story is when he realized who Mel was. And they're having that back and forth. They're sort of chasing each other around because he's convinced that she's the Rani and she's convinced that he's the fucking rando. Like, who the fuck are you? And he's like, well, let me feel your heartbeat. So she's like, cool, sure, no problem. And when he realizes that there's only one, and he just gets this smile on his face, and he's like, Mel. Like, it's so sweet because it's probably the most genuine we have seen the Doctor be with a companion in a very, very long time. Genuinely sort of connecting with a companion.
Yeah.
I think Colin could have had that with Perry. I think Colin could have had that with Mel. I think Peter should have had it with a number of his companions, but they didn't. And so getting to see that connection from the Seventh Doctor, first story out of the gate, you're like, cool. This isn't going to be some weird antagonistic bullshit between the two of them. They're friends. And he's changed, but that's okay. Because he remembered her when it mattered. And there's something about that scene, I just absolutely love it. I think it kind of reminded me a bit of the What is Love scene that we had with Perry and her future husband in the last season. But I really like it. When he becomes part of the brain, fucking A+. That was really, really funny. It reminded me a lot of Tom. A little bit of Bill in there as well, I think. Very much sort of, what the fuck did she think would happen?
Yeah.
When she added this madness into a collective hive mind. It was really, really good. So as you've probably gathered, overall, I really liked the Doctor in this one. There's nothing that really stood out to me as, oh, that wasn't really the Doctor now, or oh, I didn't really agree with that. Like, sometimes the physicality was a little bit OTT, but I think that was just Sylvester trying to find his groove and sort of maybe relying a bit too much on his usual shtick. But I really liked him. He's a change from Colin, to be sure. Colin, while fun and had funny moments, he's bigger, he's more imposing, he fills the space in a different way. So he's a change from Colin, but he still has all the doctory things that we love. We can tell he's very compassionate. That hasn't gone anywhere. He's very smart. That hasn't gone anywhere. He's a bit fucking clueless. That hasn't gone anywhere either. He's funny. He's quippy. He does the science thing in the science way. Like, I love the way he's working away on the problem. He keeps going, but what is in that room?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is that? And even with the Rani playing Mel, he knows something's fucking off. Like, he knows something's weird. And again, there is that sort of hidden compliment of, I would have thought you would remember that from thermodynamics.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Again, the key knows and respects her. And granted, it's not Bonnie in that scene with him, but he doesn't know that. And so I really like how he is with Mel. I like how they have their dynamic. Paddy flubbed over the line a bit, but like even the whole mention of the carrot juice thing and stuff like that, I loved all of that. I thought it was great. So yeah, I mean, spoiler alert, I like Sylvester anyway because I have seen future episodes. I just haven't seen many episodes this season. But it's funny. It's funny and fun to the point where I thought we were recording this last week. I watched it the week before that. This is probably the longest I've gone between watching an episode and us talking about it. And I was like, okay, cool. So I watched this now, and me and Paddy will record next week, and then I can watch the next one next. And then I couldn't, because if I watched the next one, I wouldn't be able to see what's this one. So I'm really looking forward to watching the next one.
Yeah.
Because I was sort of like, oh cool, I'm in the group. Anyway, I liked him. How about you? Watch how Paddy says he thought he was shit or something. What?
No. I was actually thinking of like going, I've really got to stop doing this, but like I've got to rag on the Fifth Doctor a small bit because of something you said, which was that like we had Colin who was very physically imposing. And like, you know, did he go, okay, well, like, you know, Tom was kind of big and physically imposing. And the same with John. But then Patrick and Bill were on the kind of the more smaller stature type thing, much like Colin. So if you imagine it, they're like two ends of a hill going and meeting in the beige middle. Yeah, so not quite the middle, but it was like just like meeting the beige. So the regeneration scene, yeah, look, it is what it is. It was a shitty situation, and the regeneration itself is possibly the worst of the regenerations. But given the fact that it was like cobbled together kind of last minute, it is what it is. So I can't rag on it too much. But I think Sylvester does a really good job here in this performance because you can see that he's trying to establish the new persona, but there are little bits of like, especially Colin, like the way that he would be kind of acting very high-handed, especially when he's the bit probably going like mop my brow, just like you can see Colin doing that. Absolutely, you can see Colin doing that. So he's still trying to figure himself out, which is good because again, it kind of keeps in line with previous generations that we've seen, and I like that. The scene that you talked about, absolutely, it was great. There's one bit I think that stands out just a small bit more for me, and it's a bit after that, is where he says he's been a fool, and he just kind of holds Mel, and he kind of touches heads with her.
That's so cute.
Yeah,
it's so cute.
Yeah,
and they're nearly the same height.
Yeah, so
much better.
So it works. It's nice. I think I'll talk more about like that aspect of it as well when I come to Mel, because you've got to give credence to Mel as a character for the situation, more so than him. But I sort of again, I think it's more into the Mel side of things. But what I like about it is, yes, it is silly, and yes, he does do the buffoon quite a bit, but he switches to the boffin very quickly at times, and it comes across as believable no matter which one he's doing. It's not a sort of like, like the fucking comedy actor is trying to be serious. It's a case of no, the actor is switching between his comedy skill set and his dramatic skill set, because there's bits there where he is talking about and the one thing, Sylvester loves to roll his R's, like so that he loves to. I was going to say he loves to use his mouth, so yeah. But he really does. Like he loves to like chew on certain words. He loves to elongate, like so like any R word. He's like really sells it. But you can kind of see like this when he talks about the Rani. At times he's like, "Oh, she's like the fucking greatest evil in the world," and then you see him kind of pining for the potential that could have been if she wasn't such a psychotic fucking. But yeah, so look again, like you, I've always liked Sylvester, and the stuff that you have seen, like without going into any like major spoiler details or anything, the stuff that you have seen is very different to the stuff that you will see to get to that point. So the fact that you liked him in his first story will definitely go a long way towards like kind of going, okay, cool, you like the character, like, as opposed to we would say that, oh well, like I only like this Doctor when they're with this companion. It's like, okay, this is evidence that you do like the Doctor as a whole entity. But yeah, no, like, so I think it's like there was stuff working against him, the situation, and both like with Colin and with the writing of this story. But I think Sylvester did a really good job of establishing himself as the Doctor. And the Doctor himself is quite enjoyable in the story because, again, like where would the Doctor learn to play the fucking spoons? Where would the Doctor learn to play the recorder? Simple as.
Yeah. Cool. If we go on to our companion,
yes,
which is Melanie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give a criticism off the bat. It's my only criticism I have for Mel in this story. And it's not a Bonnie problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even a Mel problem. It's, I think, a J&T problem. Bonnie has an amazing skill when it comes to screaming.
Yes.
She's exceptionally good at it. The amount they have her screaming in this story is indirectly proportional to how badass and confident she is in the story. So, for example, when she gets caught up in that bubble, she does not stop screaming for the entire 90 fucking seconds it takes for that sequence to end. But she's also a badass. You know, she screams when she sees the fucking touch-up things because they're fucking weird. But she keeps screaming in its fucking face. Scream once, but she's a badass. She's a little fucking bundle of
you would think that
energy.
You would think that a bat-like creature would be affected by sound. No.
But yeah, but it's something that I don't, and I'm sure they're going to continue doing it, right? And I wish they wouldn't, which is Bonnie has a lot of skills. The fact that she has a very good singing voice and therefore also has very good control of her voice and can scream very well is helpful. But they're writing her as such a competent, confident person that the amount of screaming they're giving her doesn't fucking match. Screaming is good. Most people would scream in those situations, but fucking tone it down. That's my one negative. Because I think for a first Doctor story, as in the first story for a new Doctor, with the return of who became a really iconic villain, Mel doesn't really have center stage in this one.
No.
Do you know what I mean? The Mel who has center stage in this one is the Rani cosplaying as Mel.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that Mel is still doing her own thing from the start. She wakes up, the Doctor's gone, she goes out to try and find him. She sees someone gets turned into a fucking skeleton, and her thing is, I have to find the Doctor, I have to find the Doctor. He wouldn't have abandoned me, he wouldn't be doing this, something must have happened to him, and she is fucking mission focused from the get, which I love, because it's something that, because of Bonnie's stature and the way she's dressed, and you don't think of her visually as being, oh, she's going to be the super confident, get the fuck away from me character, but she is, which is great. I love the fact that she's taking none of Iconis's shit, because he will get doing well, but she's just no, she does not kowtow to him at any point. She follows him because he knows where things are and she doesn't, but she's not kowtowing to him and sort of, holding herself back because of him. I love how she stands up with the Rani, who she doesn't fucking know. All she knows at this moment was going around pretending to be her. But she stands up with the Rani. She stands up to Baez. She's just constantly saying, that's my fucking friend, you pricks. Where did you take him? I want him back, which I love. And, you mentioned, and I 100% agree with you, the scene that I love so much between the Doctor and Mel, and even the head touching bit that you mentioned, which is so damn adorable. That only works because of a decision by Pip and Jane that I will give them credit for. She did not turn away from the regeneration. She didn't say change back. She didn't get freaked out by it. She accepted him for who he was once she realized who he was. Me, I always love a companion who's supportive of the regeneration. And I think Mel did that really, really well. Particularly, sadly, if you compare it to Perry. Where she had a very different Doctor to deal with.
Yes.
Mel has been very lucky in that regard. But I like the fact that she's because I can't remember if she said that he'd explained regeneration to her already.
Yeah, no, she said oh, I know all about regeneration.
Oh, because presumably from fucking the trial, it had come up. But I love the fact that she's just oh, it is you.
Yeah.
okay, let's go.
Yep.
And I'm like, yes, okay, let's go. Brilliant. Fantastic. Given the fact that Colin wasn't there, it's probably the nicest transition they could have had into the new companion. I'm really desperately hoping that next week's episode, their relationship continues with that dynamic. Because it is really adorable. And like, Point Lackery made a really funny comment on the behind the sofa, which is that one of the things she loved about working with Sylvester is that he's short. So she didn't have to stand on a box. And they actually get to have really nice 2-shot scenes because she physically couldn't have those scenes with Colin because he was too tall. Just physically, it just wouldn't work. So I love the fact that they get to be, together and doing their thing. So yeah, I think, is it her strongest story? Well, actually, of the ones we've seen, it's probably number 2.
Yep.
Do I think it's going to be her strongest story? No, I don't think so. I'm sure they're going to give her something but I would hope they give her something a bit bigger to do, a bit more central. But for a companion in a regeneration story, for a companion in a story where she is separate from the Doctor for the first half.
Yep.
But more than half?
No, halfway through episode 2, I think.
Yeah. So for someone who's away from him for that long, I think they fucking nailed it. And yeah, I really enjoyed her in this. How about you?
Yeah, so no, I agree with pretty much everything you said there. Like the main criticism is the fucking screaming, because look, okay, I would allow for the bubble because she saw what had happened previously, and for all she knows, that's what's going to happen to her. I would allow for that because Sarn screamed as well. So, seeing the fucking tetraps up close and personal, I will allow for one scream, like one short burst. And then that's it. But like the bit at the end of episode 3, I think, where they're activating that machine, and like Urrak is holding her back, she just starts screaming, and I'm like going, "What purpose does this fucking serve?" All it is to kind of, it's basically making fun of the character type. Like going, oh, the screaming companion, that's what they're there for. And also just getting like, oh, hey, this is Bonnie Langford, listen to her voice, like that whole fucking thing. It's a complete fucking piss take.
It does Bonnie a massive disservice as well.
Oh, hugely. Because like, again, like it's one of those things of where a lot of Doctor Who fans from the modern era are only getting to see Mel from the newer run, and they're like going, oh, she seems kind of cool. I wonder what she's like. And then you go back and you watch this, and you're like, oh. But like, again, as you said, is a really fucking annoying thing in the hole, or pain in the hole, because of the fact that, one, I can't watch this episode with wanting to eat raspberry ripple ice cream because of the fucking clothes she's wearing. She's wearing this like red and white pins, like stripe type thing. And I'm going like, fuck's sake, I want ice.
It's a bit Sarah Jane-esque.
Yeah, minus the overalls.
Yeah, as in the color scheme.
Yeah, the color scheme. But again, like this looks just what I want raspberry ripple ice cream. But no, I completely agree. Like that, throughout the story, when she's separate from the Doctor, she is very independent. Like, tries to get Akona to listen to her, even like when he's being such an asshole to her, she saves him from falling into one of the traps, and she's like, "Look, I'm not trying to hurt you. I just want to find my friend." And he does kind of speak down to her quite a bit, and I'm like, I would do fuck off. But I like, as you say, she's absolutely fearless when it comes to dealing with the Rani. She's like, you've completely underestimated him because he is the one thing that you don't have, which is humanity. And the way that the Rani kind of mocks her, and Mel's just like, well, you'll see. Her interactions with the Doctor are great, because it was a part of the strength of terror of the Vervoids, because we're introduced to Mel there, is that we're introduced to Mel down her timeline with the Doctor. So the rapport is set. So once Mel and Sylvester figure out who each other are, They're straight back into that dynamic. You'd swear like they've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
Because and as you said, that's the hallmark of of a good companion in a regeneration story, is that it's like, okay, it's a new haircut. Like they just kind of treat it like that. Let's get back to who and what we are. And kind of looking at all the various, this might probably be the best one of the existing companion being there for the switchover with the Doctor. In terms of the acceptance of it, I think it's probably the best one. Because obviously we didn't really get to fully visually see Ben and Polly seeing two. As we say, we saw Sarah Jane's one. That's actually, I'd say that might be up there with tying with this one. And as for Tegan and the others, they're kind of he's unconscious and he's sick for a lot of it, so we don't really get to see.
And then the dynamic changes once he wakes up.
Yeah, exactly.
And poor Perry was landed.
Yeah, like Perry's one is in a fucking thing all of its own, because that is something different.
Yeah. Which, as we've said, is not a slight on Perry.
No, it's not at all.
The circle sense of that particular situation.
But I still like this fact that we get to see that Mel can throw hands, because when she judo flips the Doctor. But I think a lot of the thing is when the Doctor tells Base and Froon to get Mel out, and Mel says, "Ye better stay here," or at least the Froon, "You better stay back, because if she catches you with me, you're going to be punished. I can look after myself." It's a shame. Perfect. It's a shame that we didn't get to see Mel carry on a small bit more than that. But I think overall, we are told of her intelligence, and we get to see it a small bit, which is great. But we get to see her as a companion accepting the new Doctor, which I think is the main thrust of this thing. And in a way as well, I'm glad that fucking Pip and Jane Baker won't be writing anymore in case they do this shit again, in case they were going to do this shit again to her.
One of the things I find very interesting, there's two things I find interesting, two different things. One thing I find very interesting about Mel's intelligence is we're told she's smart, right? We were told this in Vervoids, we're told it now. We don't see it though. We didn't see her being picked up, so it's a very weird thing to connect. But one of the things I think sells it is when the Rani is impersonating Mel, and the Doctor thinks it is Mel, he doesn't question it.
No.
Not really. There's one or two things she says that Mel couldn't have possibly known. Do you know what I mean? Like, how would she know where to get such and such a compound or whatever? But again, he's like, but you know about thermodynamics, why would you even ask me that question? The Rani passing as her, and the Doctor and the Rani working on fixing this thing together as Mel, sells Mel's intelligence without Mel even being in the room.
But it's also
he remembers her being really intelligent.
But we also get to see the small bit where she's like, maybe the Rani's trying to come up with a lightweight, and the Doctor finishes the thing, but it's like she started that thought process. So you get to
see. The second thing that I love, and I forgot to mention a while ago, it was highlighted by, I think it was Janet Fielding in the Behind the Sofa, is Mel comes from the stage. Not Mel. Bonnie comes from the stage. Right. And so if you watch Bonnie in fight sequences, it's very clearly stage choreography.
Oh, yeah.
Everything she does has very dance-like movements. Like when she's picked up, she's in a very safe lift the whole time. There's no awkwardness. She's very clearly comfortable in all those positions. And it's really interesting to watch it because, if you watched it with no sound, it's almost like, I think in one of those points, I think Sylvester lifts her up onto his shoulders or something. It's very clearly done in a very safe and measured lift, and she's fine. It's legs together, toes pointed. And it's a bit like a dance, the way she moves. Even the way she runs is a bit dance-like. I didn't really notice it until Janet pointed it out, and I was like, oh, actually, no, you're right.
What you're saying is that somewhere out there's a cut of that scene to "We've Had the Time of Our Lives." Okay, gotcha. Oh, right. So, on to our prominent characters of the Lakertians of Veus, Faroon, and Ikarna.
Okay. We start with Baez. So,
Yeah.
I think Baez probably takes the prize for most annoying character in this story for me.
Yeah.
He's so fucking stupidly naive, I think is the way I would go about it. He's so convinced his plan will work. He's so committed to that he refuses to see the evidence in front of his nose that he has already lost. To the point where he lost a fucking child, his daughter. Sarin was his child. And he still was like, no, I'm doing it. It's like, dude, you're fucking not. Like, open your eyeballs, you dumb motherfucker. He is so irritating. And yeah, he had his bit where he was like, I'll let you go, but I'm not going to help you. And if they recapture you, then tough shit. And I'm like, cool. But then it's like, you are in the optimal position to help. You're in the optimal position to gather information and do whatever. Even if you don't want to physically get involved because she'll trigger the thing. Tell them what's going on. He knew there was a big giant brain behind the door because he was working on the fucking units. He knew the science behind what was happening. And he just let it happen. Even after his child was turned into a fucking skeleton. He let it happen. And it's so fucking annoying.
Yeah.
I'm glad he died. Didn't like him. How about you?
I wish people could see the camera version of you say that. It's very hard to describe Tricia's face when she said that, but it's fucking priceless. Yeah, no, I agree with you for pretty much everything you say. Okay. As a collaborator, I can understand why he initially did what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because look, we've seen varying, like in what is, I suppose, our more recent thing is like World War II. We saw various different levels of collaboration. As like, like obviously we had guys that did it in Eastern Europe because they wanted to remain in power versus the people that did it in France because they wanted to we don't want the shit bombed out of our cities. That thing, So I get that. But then he sees like, okay, the Doctor is free. And you know that the Rani knows that the Doctor is more intelligent than her when it comes to certain things. And you know that the Rani is afraid of the Doctor being loose. Let him loose. Let him do the thing that he does. Because it's like, okay, you now have the ultimate way to fight back. Because the Rani can't do... the more I think about, the dumber it is. You can lock the tetraps into their fucking feeding thing. And then you can have the Doctor capture the Rani. Because then she can't do fucking anything that will hurt your people because she has been captured. So, stupid. Also, but then there's like the whole thing of like going, I want to tell you exactly everything that's happening. So that way you will know what the Rani's plans are. And it will come up with a way to defeat her. And it's like, well, wait, why are you trying to defeat her? Stop it. Stop it. It's like, just like fucking just, oh. And like the thing is, like, I like Donald Pickering. Like, I like him as an actor. He's really good. But you could tell that he was just like, I am just so fucking done with this. Yeah, and he's like,
you actually bring up an interesting thing that I had forgotten irritated the shit out of me.
Which was?
To feed the tetraps, you open the cage, go down into the cage, pull a lever that's in the cage.
Yep. Why can't they just feed themselves? Maybe they don't have a...
Well, why not have the lever outside the cage?
I was going to say maybe...
Why is the lever in the cage? It makes no fucking sense.
I was going to say maybe they don't have opposable thumbs, but no, that's not true.
They could use guns for books.
Yeah, but no, like it was... Like, it's just so stupid. Like, and again, his sacrifice means absolutely nothing. I don't get what the sacrifice was for. Like, I've been trying to work out the logic of it, and it's like,
I think it was guilt.
Possibly.
I think it was just whether he couldn't face the fact that he was so wrong and his child was dead.
Yeah.
Because of his fucking stupidity.
Oh yeah, but that was the thing, like going, oh, you've been told by your wife that the Rani killed your daughter, and you're still like going, well, you know, she could hurt. I go like, fuck off, no. Bad character.
Yeah. Then let's do Icona next. Dickhead.
Yeah.
He is so far up his own hole
Mm-hmm.
that I'm like, he is fighting for the right thing, right reasons. He's not blind to what's going on. Very much a mind open guy, but he's doing it in such a fucking asshole way.
Mm.
He was horrible to Mel. Now, initially, he thought, well, she looks like her in terms of species, so she's one of them. Logical leap of whatever, fine. As soon as you realise she wasn't, though, he still continued to be an ass to her.
Mm-hmm.
He's a bit of a racist.
No,
Basically. He was so mean and condescending to her the entire time that they were together. Later on, he's also a little bit fucking brusque with the doctor, where he's like, you know, the fucking magic bugs. Like, okay, he didn't know about the magic bugs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe explain that to him before he gets to the fucking pleasure room.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the hell? But the thing that stuck in my craw the most was, you would think, naturally in a story like this, he's a dickhead at the beginning, he doesn't get along with Mel, he doesn't really like the doctor much either, he's pissed off with Bass, he gets mad at Faroon for standing up for Bass, and whatever, and you would think at the end they have won, that he'd be like, oh, you know, thank you, Mel, for your help, or whatever. No, the doctor offers him something to fucking help him, and he crushes it and is like, no, we can do it ourselves.
Yeah.
Dickhead. Like,
we need to learn to look after ourselves, and if people die in the learning of it, then so be it. Jesus Christ,
he's like fucking survival of the fittest fucking man over here.
And he's like, no, he's not. He's like Zap Brannigan. I said wave after wave of my own men.
Fucking asshole. Like, her child and husband are dead. Make her life a little bit easier, you fucking prick.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think we've ever had a story where the characters who are fighting on the side of good are as annoying as Icona is.
No, because like, okay, you imagine like Icona is like, he's the sole dissident, like that. Like, well, you know, that's what we're told, or that's only what the budget will allow for. But he's the sole dissident in this whole fucking society. So it's like, okay, I can get him being salty and chip on his shoulder for the start of it, but that chip's got to start to fill in the minute Mel is nice to you. Also, it's like this whole thing of, as you said, the racism part of it's like going, okay, if you have this thing of going, well, I'm not like the other Lakertians. Fair enough. Then why do you automatically assume that Mel is like all the other? Yeah, so it's fucking stupid. With no basis for evidence whatsoever. But as you say, like, he's very brusque. There's no sort of like that. The best thing I can think of is, oh God, the name for the character now is escaping me. I think it's Turner. But in Dalek Invasion of Earth, fucking guy that we love, the guy whose name now I cannot remember, but the character actor that plays like multiple supporting parts that we always liked, his whole thing is he starts off like really fucking harsh, and the doctor kind of tells him, just chill the fuck out. At which point he does start to chill out. And I'm like going, that's the type of character that Icona is meant to be.
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, maybe they have a complete like one person patriarchal society, and Icona is now filling into Bass's role, but he's got a complete 180 as to what Bass was. So it's like, oh no, fuck it, you fend for yourselves type thing. But not only that, it's just very wooden performance. It's very hard to buy into him.
Yeah, like, in fairness, they're all a bit mellow in general. I can't remember. Are they part avian?
No,
Part
reptilian.
reptilian. They do a really funny run.
Yeah.
Right, which obviously I can't show people because they can't see us. But they run with their arms perfectly straight, and their hands facing backwards.
Yeah.
And so their arms are a little bit like, they're not like straight down by their sides, they're a little bit behind them, but they're straight. Almost like they're little tiny fins.
Yeah, it's like a weird precursor to like the ninja run from Naruto.
Yeah, it's very, very strange. But no, I agree with you. I think all of them are a bit mellow. Do you know? In general, I think that as a species they tend to be a bit mellow. But him is just
Yeah.
like, I think it's because he does. Like, he says that he doesn't go into the pleasure center or whatever the fuck it is. So I'm like, is that your problem? Is that you've been living out in the rocks this whole fucking time, and so you don't want anyone to have a good time because they didn't do any of the hard work. You did.
But he also, like, I have to laugh, like, because he was saying like that. The center of leisure. Here they just live indulgent, decadent lives. Like, they're playing board games. Like, they're not all around fucking each other. It's just like you was like going, oh my god, the hedonism, it's Caligula's palace. No, it's the Smiths.
I was expecting the fucking planet from Justice from TNT.
Yeah. No, it's anything fucking far from that.
Yeah. But I'm glad we agree that Icona is a dickhead.
Yeah. Oh, just fucking bad.
Okay.
And
then we have Faroon.
Yes.
Who every time I hear her name,
you think Haroon?
I do. I actually like Faroon. I feel so bad for her. Because she is the middle ground between Icona and Baeus. She stands by Baeus because, again, in principle, she understands why Baeus is doing what he's doing, and she understands the impact of if the Rani fucking flips her lid, what will happen. She's aware of it. But she doesn't have her head in the sand the way Baeus does.
No.
And particularly upon losing her child, who was also a dickhead, by the way, she's like, I can't get involved enough that will trigger the Rani to do something, because obviously the Rani knows her very well as well. But I will do everything I can to help you otherwise. And it's like, that's what we would have expected Baeus to be like. It's what she was like. She clearly has an open mind, like I said, very similar to Icona in that way, but she also has a really kind heart. Do you know, like, she is ready to like go with Mel and keep Mel protected and stuff like that. She very much is. I mean, she's the leader these people deserve. And I hope as soon as the Doctor leaves, she fucking kicks Icona up the fucking hole and is like, if you want to be a dickhead over there.
Yeah. Because
actually, thanks for all your help. Fuck off. But I do quite like her. She's quite warm and welcoming when she's on screen. And I just feel so bad for her because, I mean, she lost her child, so we're terrible, but she's married to Baeus.
Yeah.
You poor fucking woman. Like, you just told this man that this psycho killed your child, and he continues to work for her. I'm like, I'm sure she's devastated he's dead. I'm sure she's devastated. But sweetheart, you deserved way better. You know, I was thinking about it as I sometimes do, in this sort of, if you were to paste this onto something else, I'm like, Faroon could have gone full Clytemnestra on Baeus. Just
yeah.
You fucking drug her daughter into this shit, made her fucking think the way you do and believe the way you do, and now she's dead, you fucking pillock. But she didn't. She may have done had he survived,
Mm.
but she didn't. And it's nice to know that at least one of these people is not a dickhead.
Yeah. I agree. Like, I feel sorry for her. Like, initially, like, so I watched this twice because I do the individual episode recaps and then I watch it to do my notes. And like, I remember the first time I was a bit on the fence with her. I'm like, I don't really know about her. But then the second time watching it, I was going, I feel so sorry for her because like she lost her daughter, but her husband is still, again, as you say, like sticking his head into the sand. And she's like, I've got to follow his lead because, and like maybe she puts a lot of pressure on herself, like where she's, like going, oh, well, if he doesn't have me, who knows what will happen to him? And it's like, he made his choice. And essentially, it's the wrong choice. And I have a feeling that a lot of the people would have listened to you more than Icona. Like, I think it would have been maybe a better thing if she was the figurehead of the resistance, the Mockingjay, as it were. But yeah, like, so. And like, I remember initially thinking, kind of going, like, oh, well, like, she seems a bit sad by Saren's death, but then like she's kind of carrying on. I was like, maybe we didn't see the dynamic of that relationship. Maybe they weren't on great terms or whatever. But then I more think about going, well, no, like, I think it's maybe we don't get to see the dynamic of her relationship with Base and what that thing is like, which might dictate as to why she's being so. But I did like her with Mel. And again, it's the whole thing of like Mel telling her to stay behind. And you can see that slight little hesitance there, maybe thinking of what happened to Sarah, I don't want to happen to you again. But like, I think she wants to protect her people. I think she would be have a better way of doing it, but at the same time, she doesn't want to step over Base doing it, which I think is, again, to the detriment of the Lakertyans. So, the Rani.
I love her. I love her so much. Why couldn't we get more stories of her and less of the Master? Oh, she's. I liked her the first time around, right?
Yeah.
In Mark of the Rani, I liked her. She was different. She was interesting. It's her ability to banter. I think that's Kate O'Mara and how she performs. The ability to banter is brilliant. So I really liked her in that. I fucking loved her in this. I mean, you had asked me, you had said to me, like, oh, there's a bit where you're going to laugh. And it kind of already spoiled me because, again, it's seen it in clips just a bit. But her as Mel is fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
It's fucking gold. And what's even better is, again, having watched the making of and behind the stuff and whatever, her performance is fucking like, okay, she's a lot taller than
Bonnie.
right? So it looks a bit disproportional, right? It's like an adult wearing children's clothes, right?
Yeah.
But her intonation, the way she laughs, the way she walks, she embodied Bonnie in everything. Apparently, they worked really closely together beforehand, and she really wanted to get Bonnie down. But what was apparently the case, and like Sylvester confirmed this as earlier, that she was her best Mel when Bonnie wasn't around.
Yeah.
Because she got really self-conscious when Bonnie was there.
Which is kind of funny because like Kate O'Mara always like comes across as this like super, confident, like powerhouse woman. And then to hear like that she's like, no.
No, she's got really nervous apparently when Bonnie was there because she really wanted to do a good job because in her mind and the way she described it was that like this isn't the Rani playing a caricature of Mel. She needs to be believable.
Yeah.
She needs to have all the bits true about her that the Doctor would remember about Mel, except her face. It's the only thing that's different.
Mm-hmm.
And her exceptional height.
Yeah.
But so she wanted to do it justice. She didn't want it to be a caricature. And I love that that's the way she went on. Like I said, even to the point where when she walked, when she ran, the tone of her speech, the pitch of her voice, it was all so perfectly done.
The baby,
it was absolutely brilliant.
The baby doll voice she puts on when she's talking like Mel is actually excellent.
But it could come off so fucking cringe.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It's a testament to Kate that she's just a fantastic actress. I absolutely love it. One of the bits I loved the most, and the bit that had me in stitches more so, that like when you got the initial reveal, which just you'll piss yourself laughing. It's very funny. But the bit that sort of had me laughing the most was every time she did her sort of, that wasn't quite a turn to camera, but it was close enough to like a Zach from Saved by the Bell sort of fucking third wall break, where she'd be like, Mel, 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 what the fuck? Was he ever heard of fuck up? Mel, Mel. And she just reverts to being herself again. It was so good. And like her being her, dressed as Mel, was very, very funny. I thought it was brilliant. I'm not sure her plan made a whole lot of sense, to be honest. Mainly because I don't think she actually needs to get all these really intelligent people together. I think she probably could have figured it out by herself.
Yeah.
But I like the way that she's still the same Rani that we saw in Mark of the Rani. She has the tetraps, but she has them in a cage. They're not allowed free roam around and whatever. And she uses them. But it's while she ends up in a similar position to what we've seen the Master end up in, we're like, oh no, you went into fucking... You teamed up with another species and they fucking turned on you. Wah wah. Which we had with the Master all through nearly every story he's fucking been in. It's not quite the same here because she fucking left him to die.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And she had zero qualms about it. And it's only because they delayed the explosion that allowed the Tetraps to catch up with her and go into her TARDIS. That's the only reason. Had they not been talking for as long, had she just gone straight into the TARDIS, she would have been able to leave. And she would have been fine. So I love it. I do think she had one slightly OTT moment, which is when they put her in the thing. And that's only because the pod closed too slowly.
Yeah.
And so like they just sort of gently positioned her into it, and then it slowly closed. And then she's like has her freak out. So that's more of a
production
set problem. But it makes her look really weird. Because you're like, dude, you're freaking out over like nothing. But yeah, it was so fun to watch. And to be honest, I would put this above any of the Master ones that we've seen. She's so much smarter than him.
Yep.
Like I said, I was trying to figure out, the sort of in-universe logic. Because out of universe, it's because the show is called Doctor Who. And that's why she kidnapped the Doctor. But I was trying to figure out in-universe. Why the fuck would you... Like, what did you expect would happen when you hooked his brain up to this big giant thing? And the only thing I can think of is that she's not an idiot. What's easier? Sneaking back to Gallifrey, where she's in exile, and kidnapping a Time Lord from there, who may not have the imagination to do what she needs to do. Or find the guy who's already fucking floating around by himself and no one gives a shit about.
Yeah.
So like, okay, in a weird sort of in-universe logic way, it makes sense. But like, seriously, I am gutted we do not get more Kate O'Mara. I kind of knew that there was only ever going to be the two before I even looked her up for Mark of the Rani. I think I knew that there was only ever the two stories that she was in. But I'm so gutted we don't get more because she's so good.
If you want, we can do a rambling on Dimensions in Time.
We could do Dimensions in Time.
Yeah, we could do a rambling for Dimensions in Time.
but she's like seriously, like how many stories do we have with the Master?
Mm.
Like, could we not have gotten one or two more with Kate? It's just she's so good, so good. I hope you feel the same. Otherwise, my like gushing over her will sound
Oh,
out of proportion.
no. Like, so I'm trying to address like the points you did. Okay, but like first of all, right? They say that the greats suffer for their art, and I think the Rani definitely felt like she was suffering here. Because like there was those bits like where she says like "come on, doctor" and all this kind of stuff, and he like makes a kind of backhanded comment. He goes like, "Oh, the Rani is such like like a cruel harden of a woman," and she just turns and she goes like, "Charmed, I'm sure," type thing. It's brilliant. My favorite bit though is where he gets his new ensemble. And he looks back at her and he sees Mel's face superimposed over her, and he does a staring, and she just fucking decks him. And then when he turns back, she has that sweetie pie face at her with the blinking eyes, and it's just like you were being very strange, Doctor. She started like fucking like really kind of letting them have it. So yeah, that was brilliant. But I think like Kate did like Kate as Rani does a great job like keeping it together whilst trying to trick the Doctor, because she's like, he's a fucking idiot. He's an idiot savant. Like I need him. He's a fucking idiot. It's just like this constant fucking stream. And like, you could tell like that there was a relief like there where she goes, "Oh, thank God I don't have to wear this fucking stupid uniform. I can be like fucking sharing space again with her own clothes." Um, but like she does, it's such a good thing like to be able to switch back and forth between the moods. Like, and like again, that's down to Kate's acting. As for the Rani, it's perfectly acceptable for the facade to slip every now and again, like when dealing with someone as chaotic as the Doctor in general and as chaotic as the Seventh Doctor is. Um, her motivation for her motivation this time is very in keeping with her MO. Like really, it's like going, I'm a rogue scientist. I like to tinker. I like to mess with. I like to meddle. I want like it's all about experimentation. Like she's a horrible. Like she's fucking Mengele in space. But like that's what she is. But god damn it, she's so goddamn charismatic. But also like when she was threatening like Earth, and she goes, "I think I'll go back and send it back to the Cretaceous period." I'm like, you still have a fucking grudge against that dinosaur that you ended up with at the end of Mark and the Rani. And as to your point about the Master, it's very simple. She doesn't trip over her own dick. Like it's the Master's whole thing is trying to appear smarter than the Doctor. And whenever he partnered up with, he did not take into account for the fact, oh, I've paired up with, like, he goes, I paired up with someone of a similar intelligence to me, but I'm the wiser one. It's like going, well, if they're a similar intelligence to you, what makes you think they're not fucking kind of backstabbing you at the same time? Whereas the Rani, again, enslaves what she deems to be inferior species, maybe academically so, absolutely, technologically so. Yeah, absolutely. Like, you can't fault the fact that she knows how to pick her allies and her slaves. And like that's she said the whole thing, like if Urach hadn't overheard her, then it was like, yeah, no, she's grand. She's off in the clear because she's smart. She's smarter, much smarter than the Master. And I agree that I would have loved to have seen the Rani come back. If not Kate, at least have the Rani come back sooner, because we didn't get the Rani until last year. And but like Kate was phenomenal, and like again, just as time went on, Anthony's Master has grated on me. So seeing another time Lord come in and again seeing it be the Rani it's a great breath of fresh air.
Two people I would love to have seen her opposite, and specifically Kate, because again we do get the Rani later, but specifically Kate's version of Rani. The Brig, would have been fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And Ace.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I would have loved to have seen again one more story with Ace in it. Do you know what I mean?
But like, even if you take like Kate's iteration of the Rani, you put her back in a Barry Letts unit story, Doc John and Brig and Benton,
it would be so good.
or even
So good.
even fucking put her against Bill, send her back to fucking have her be against Ian, Barbara, Susan, and Doc Bill. But absolutely.
Yeah.
So here we are once again for the first time in 2026. We meet for the first time for the last time. No, here we are at the overall section where myself and Trish will each give the story a rating out of 5. So as always, the person who does the socials and who does the start of the characters gets to go first with the overall, which would be you. So
okay, so something I found interesting when I was watching the extras on the Blu-ray for this was how much people seemed to not like it as a story. They loved Kate, but they seemed to not like it as a story. Andrew Cartmel didn't like it. Pip and Jane had issues with it because of what people did to their story. Sylvester thought he was too over the top. You know, apparently Andrew Cartmel's agent, when the first episode went out, was like, "This is what you did? This was your big shot, and this is what you did? Really? Okay." And it wasn't very well received, from what I understand. And even nowadays in rankings, people rank it at the bottom of the Sylvester list, which, it might be, I don't know, right? I really enjoyed it, right? It has a number of storytelling plot problems, right? Some things go on for too long. The whole, I would have liked to have seen more of the smartest people in all of time and space. I would like to have seen more of them. Why was the Tetraps food thing in their cell? And if it wasn't their cell, why did anyone have to go in to use it? Why couldn't they just do it themselves? There's a couple of things like that were annoying, and Bayes and fucking Akona were irritating. But overall, I really had a load of fun watching this. I laughed my ass off for a large portion of it. Like, even the fact that like we've been skitting so much doing this recap and doing this discussion. But I got to the end of it, and immediately I was like, okay, I'm going to watch the Behind the Sofa. I was like, cool. Okay, I'm going to watch the making of documentary. Okay, let's watch that. Cool. I can't watch the next episode, because if I watch the next episode, I won't remember this one.
yeah.
that was nearly 3 weeks ago. You know, I really enjoyed it. So if I was just rating like the script and the story, I would probably say, it's kind of middling. But as a piece of Doctor Who viewing, particularly if you watch it all in one go, I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to give it a 4 because it was just really, really fun. It was really fun. I don't give a shit if half of it doesn't make sense. I don't care. It was really fun to watch. The Doctor was solid. Mel was solid. The Rani was great. Faroon deserved better. Bayes died. And Icona, someone's gonna drop a rock on his head.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just found it really, really fun. And unfortunately, after the severe dislike I had for the trial component of Trial of a Time Lord, which slightly warped my enjoyment of that, this was nice and refreshing. It was just sit down, have my bowl of popcorn, have my drink, lots of fun, and give it a 4. How about you?
So, I just need to check something there. And yeah, so for me, it's a mixed bag of story. I will talk about the positive stuff first. And the positive things are essentially three entities: Bonnie Langford, Sylvester McCoy, and Kate O'Mara. So Mel, the Doctor, and the Rani are the best things in this story. They really are. And like Kate is, as you say, she's fantastic. Like I love having the Rani in the stories because she's just consistently good because she's a great antagonist. It's, in a way, it kind of reminds me of what Irene Adler and Sherlock Holmes, this thing it was meant to be. No, it got turned into like this whole like, oh, Sherlock is in love with her. It's like that type of stuff. It's like going, no, like it was just like she's the one woman that managed to outsmart the Doctor. And it's like here, it's a case of like it's nice to have that female antagonist that's on par with the protagonist side of things. So it's really good. And especially when you've got someone that can do it convincingly, like Kate can.
Mm.
Because it would be very easy to fob her off as the sort of like, she's known for being Alexis in Dynasty. And her style as the Rani is very reminiscent of like that sort of like 80s Hollywood actress type thing. But you forget about it because of the performance of Kate. And as I said, for Sylvester, it's a solid introduction. You're not kind of going, oh cool, when will the Doctor arrive? You know? You're like, it's okay, cool. We've had the Doctor in the old Doctor's clothes section. We've had the Doctor finding his new outfit section, which I thought was funny, and it was great for like a chance to have Sylvester show off again his vocal range and his comedic skills, which I suppose to the audience at the time they may have known from watching that road show. We here later on are kind of going, may potentially going, who the fuck is this guy, you know? But no, he was great. And as I said, Mel as the stationary companion to the new Doctor and actually being as good as she is with him, it was great. Unfortunately, she gets sidelined a small bit, which is a small bit understandable, but at the same time, I think there was enough room in the story to have her do that. And I like the concept for the motive as well for the Rani. It's like the thing of like going, if I can create a perfect sphere from which I can manipulate all time, I get to use my eugenics experiments. I am like, she's a kid in a candy store, which is great because it's not like the Master's like, you know, total world domination. And she's going like a case of like, I like to tinker with things and see what makes them tick with a big gleeful, maniacal smile on her face, which, you know, you're fucking dangerous. The things that go against the story, though, are, as I said, the misuse of Mel, and like there's like the really kind of bad characterization of like just like the screaming, the Lakertians, like I said, Farouk, like I feel sorry for Faroon, but Icona is just such a fucking annoying character. Bass is like the worst, like he's one of the worst I've come across. He's not up there with like your man like fucking Kellerman or the guy from Revenge of the Cybermen, who was just like actual evil. Bass is just an idiot, and he's not even a redeemable idiot. It's like you're like a fucking moron. I don't like it. The huge overuse of music in it, like there's musical stings for practically everything, and it's like going, let Jesus Christ, let the scene breathe. It doesn't need like music the whole time. Like the section like where you see Mel and Faroon sneaking around the corner of a corridor. This does not need music. Like it really doesn't. And not even like bad 80s synth music as well. It's just, oh god, it takes me out of it so much. Also the very rushed ending with the Rani. Like it is a very, very rushed ending in the sense of, I think it would have been kind of cool to see her going to the TARDIS and then be like face Urak, who kind of holds her to task, and then we cut back to her being fucking suspended with whatever. It's just, it feels so rushed. And oh, there was one other thing that really kind of fucked me off. Mel says something to Akona because Akona says going, I kind of wish I was going with you. And Mel goes, no one will credit it, Akona, but so do I. And I'm going, you're right, Mel. no one fucking believes that you would want a Kona going with you because fuck that guy. And also, I don't think anyone wanted a Kona to go with you, so no.
I don't think anyone wanted a Kona.
Yeah. I'll be your friend. So, I didn't enjoy it as much as you. And the one thing that I needed the second watch because I got a thing stuck in my craw because I recently came across a discussion thread for the twin dilemma. And I was like, just seeing some of the, I've seen, okay, that's a very valid opinion to make. Like for some people saying like it was all over the place. It was kind of like Colin is great, but the fucking story sucks, or the supporting actor sucks, or whatever. But then there's just the whole thing going, oh well, like it's called the worst story for a reason. I'm like going, why do you believe it's the first story? It's just these brain dead takes. And I was kind of going like, and I was watching a lot of the story, and the problems I have with it were amplified in my head by kind of going, you're saying that this is better than the twin dilemma. So the second time around watching it, I'm like going, do I actually know it? It's not worse than the twin dilemma, but it's not better than the twin dilemma. I've kind of put it on par with the twin dilemma. So I can't rank it higher than what I gave the twin dilemma, which was a 3.5. So it's kind of the same. It's a 3.5.
So that's still not bad. I mean, that's still a really strong opener. Like, and I'm not gonna I mean, I agree with you. There are negative things about it, largely to do with the script and the story and the characterization. It's okay that you didn't enjoy it as much as I did. That's fine. I mean, you enjoyed all the same things I did.
Yeah.
Just, I was able to ignore the other stuff in place of all the bits I liked. But yeah, I think though, in terms of, I mean, again, if we're looking back in terms of a first story of a Doctor, I mean, for me overall, I ranked it higher than the twin dilemma. I had more fun watching it.
Yeah.
As a story on its own. But for you, it's on par. So like from Colin into Sylvester, I mean, I would feel comfortable saying this is the Doctor. I don't have any qualms about giving him that honorific, giving him that title. Mm-hmm. It seems you don't either. So I think for the start of our final televised episodic classic Doctor, how many different ways do I have to make it clear? We're also going to do poem again. Yeah. Relax. But for the start of the final Doctor of the classic run of episodic Doctor Who, I think this is a really good opener out of the gate. And hopefully it's a good sign. I mean, I know what I kind of think about all the future ones. I don't know what it's. I mean, next week is something called Paradise Towers. I have no fucking clue what that's about. So hopefully it continues. I get
Paradise Towers and the Happiness Patrol confused, and like they're two different seasons. But
they're two different seasons. Yeah.
So
because I've seen Happiness Patrol. I've seen that already.
So I get confused between the two. I'm not going to say any more, but I do get confused between the two. But until then, guys, so that was Time on the Rani. If you have thoughts on it, please contact us. And we will be talking to you again next time when we do Paradise Towers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.